Hello, welcome everybody that's joining us today. If you're watching from YouTube or website platforms, you'll be watching back this video that we have today regarding legal powers of attorney. If you have any comments or questions after today's video, please guide them to our email address at Somerset Carers and we can help you further with that. So my name's McGarva. I'm the Carers Service Coordinator for Somerset Carers, and I'm really pleased to introduce Julie Antoniadis today from Simply Lasting Powers of Attorney Somerset, and she's going to talk to us about LPAs and why they're important. Over to Julie.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Emma, for asking me to talk about powers of attorney. They're obviously something that's very dear to my heart. I run my own business, Simply Lasting Power of Attorney Somerset, so that I can help people to do these important things. So I've been in business 4 years. I've come across all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life. Age range from 18 through to 101 now. And hopefully I'll be able to dispel some of the myths and help you listening and watching to know more about powers of attorney and why they're important.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Julie. So if we kick it off with, what is an LPA?
Okay. So LPA is, the actual word is lasting power of attorney. Lots of people know it as a power of attorney. Generally, they are the same wording, but legally, that's what they actually are. They're legal deeds. They're on the same legal footing as the deeds of your house. Not many people realise that. And what they actually do is give people that you choose to actually speak on your behalf if you're incapacitated. So if you're unable to, due to illness, they can actually speak on your behalf. There's two powers of attorney. One covers all things health and care. So the sorts of things that we might think about. Again, they only come into force, as I said, if we're incapacitated. That might be temporarily, in which case, as soon as you're able, you take back the power yourself. It's never any other case that somebody is taking over from you. They are acting on your behalf. The other one covers all things finance. So that's everything from your bank accounts to your utility bills, to your care, anything that you would deal with on a day-to-day basis that if incapacitated, you wouldn't be able to. The finance lasting power of attorney can be used, if you wish it to, at the time of setting up, as soon as it's registered. What that means is that can be really helpful, particularly between couples where maybe one is more likely to deal with the financial side and will phone and change the electricity company or whatever, but it's in the other one's name, so they can do that sort of thing. Or it could be, as I saw during COVID, where people were shielding, they were using their attorneys, which generally are their loved ones that they've chosen, to deal with things face to face, like banking or whatever.
Excellent. Excellent, thank you. I was going to ask you a little bit about why they're important.
They're important. So yeah, the most important thing is that once we hit 18, nobody can legally speak for us. So that means that if we cannot, or as I said, we don't want to talk to a particular company, it might be hard of hearing or have other problems, that nobody can actually be able to do that without a power of attorney being in place. Our sole and our joint accounts might be frozen if we're incapacitated. The law actually says that they have to be frozen because there's an implied agreement that both parties will agree. And obviously, if we're incapacitated, we can't agree. We probably would, but we're unable to. So financial institutions' hands are tied in that they can't leave that open because both parties can't agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we choose who speaks for us, who makes decisions for us if we can't. So rather than adult social care, who do an excellent job but may not know us and may not know what we want or what we would like, we actually choose our loved ones, and that can be family, it could be friends, it could be a mixture of both, but it's our decision who speaks for us. If we lose capacity and there's no lasting power of attorney in place, the only option then, if it's a permanent state, is the court of protection, which is a very lengthy process. The earliest court dates at the moment are about 12 to 15 months away. It's very costly and it's incredibly complex. So obviously, if we've already put something in place, we might never need it, hopefully, but if we do, it's already there to be used.
Yeah.
Attorneys can say where we are cared for. So, for example, we might be cared for close to our home environment, or indeed remain at home with support if that's medically feasible. But also it means that they may be more that they are able to see us more often if we're close to home than perhaps where the first place that's available is. We can also state our instructions and preferences. So instructions being if we have something that's really important to us, for example, that we wouldn't want to be resuscitated, for example, if we were likely to be in a vegetative state, we can state that on our health power of attorney, and that then legally has to be abided by. We can also state our preferences. So it might be what we would like to happen to us regarding our care. For example, we might like to have our hair cut at a certain time, or have music on, or have our pets with us, that sort of thing. We can actually state that in our power of attorney, which can help the people that are actually acting for us to do what we would like in that event.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's all about that sort of early intervention and planning at the beginning, isn't it, before it's actually needed. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. So are you able to explain some of the myths surrounding powers of attorney and the legal support that's out there at the moment?
Yes, certainly. The first one that I come across very often is that people that are caring for us quite often assume that if we've got a loved one that's had a diagnosis of something like dementia, that they won't be able to do a power of attorney. That isn't true. It's all about, as long as we can understand what we're doing, then more than likely we still can appoint people to actually act for us. Quite often I come across people, they say, well, I don't need a power of attorney. I've been married to my partner for 50 years, 30 years. Of course they can speak for me. And whilst that in the past, and I'm talking several decades ago, that would be true, unfortunately now, even though we've had that relationship and we would obviously want them to speak for us, legally they cannot. Another myth is that powers of attorney are costly. There is a registration fee that the Office of the Public Guardian, the registering body, actually charge, but that's dependent on our own individual income. So it's not viewed as a couple. So sometimes there are exemptions where if we're on certain benefits, there won't be any fee at all, or indeed reductions to reduce the price. With regards to legal advice, yes, it can be costly, but it's like anything. As I said, it's a legal deed, so it cannot be changed. So it is something that you need to get right the first time, and it doesn't have to be costly. There are many legal providers that will give you the advice without charging you an arm and a leg, to excuse the pun.
No, that's wonderful. That leads on nicely to my last question. I was going to ask you, where do people start? So obviously, they may be watching today and they've sort of listened to the information you've just kindly offered. But what's the first point of call? Where do they need to start, and where do they look for that professional service?
Certainly. Well, if you are using the internet, the Office of the Public Guardian themselves have an excellent website giving you a lot of guidance on who you might consider to choose as your attorneys and how to use them. Age UK also have an excellent booklet that in plain English that will talk you through it. What do you need to think about? Well, who would you have as your attorneys? You can have up to, you don't have to have as many, but you can have up to 4 attorneys and 4 replacements. So we're looking at it lasting us for our lifetime. So it would be good at least to have several people who are in the frame, who you're considering there. I would, with regards to a legal professionals, I'd choose a specialist, so someone that does them day in, day out, because obviously they will have come across many different scenarios and then can obviously prompt you with questions, the what ifs, so that you can get it right. Shop around. There's many, as I said, legal professionals out there, not just the traditional solicitors, although obviously they are, if you have someone that you use, then that's obviously a good first point of contact. And be aware that online providers of powers of attorney are great, but you will do all the running around. So you will need to find someone who can act as your certificate provider to confirm that you understand what they are. And you will need to get all your attorneys to sign. And they don't give advice. They will just check the paperwork for you. So that would be my advice in a nutshell. Don't put it off. That would be another one. They're taking 26 weeks to register currently. And the majority of people I meet really do need them as soon as possible. But unfortunately, because of the volume of work that the Office of the Public Guardian are dealing with, that time frame does not look like it's going to shorten anytime soon. But at least, obviously, if you've started the process, should you need it, hopefully it will be in place by the time that you do.
That's wonderful, excellent. Wow, I didn't know it was taking that long at the moment as well. So that's really helpful to know. Thank you so much, Julie, for all that information. I really hope that people watching this back, it's really helpful for them. This will be available, as we said, on our website and our YouTube for people to watch back over and over again if they need to. Julie's contact information for Simply Lasting Power of Attorney Somerset is across the bottom of the screen at the moment. And again, just to reiterate, if you have any comments or questions when you're watching this back, please contact us on Somerset Carers, either via our phone number or our email, and we'll be happy to answer them for you further if we can. Thank you very much, Julie.
You're very welcome. And as I said, this is something that's not quite often we think about it when we're older, but this is for everybody. The majority of people that I see that actually need to use the powers of attorney are actually under 40. So it's a sobering thought. Yes, it's good for us to think about our parents or our grandparents, but we should also be thinking of ourselves as well. So.
Yeah, definitely, to spread the word and all be thinking about it. No, I do agree.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thank you for joining us both today.
Thank you.
Bye now.